Hey folks, well, welcome back. Again, new year 2026. So just thought I'd share with everybody where we're at on the Barracuda. We're waiting on heads to come in for the Oldsmobile. They're at the machine shop, but got the cam agreed on that. Waiting for the alternator to come in for Johnny's Hemi satellite. And then we're waiting for parts to come in on this. But we got as far as we could go with what we had. So back to the Barracuda. We have our hoses ran, not crimped yet, but for the AC system. This is our AC hoses. We got to find a hydraulic shop to crimp these. I've got a resolution for our heater hoses. I've got the black clamps coming. I'm going to use some 90-degree fittings. Here's what I should have done. And when you run the Holley mid-mount accessory drive, they tell you before you put it on, make your choice if you're going to run this thing a 90-degree or a straight. I ran both straights, not thinking that really I needed one to make a 90 to come around to one of the heater hose nipples. But what I am going to do, I'm going to use a couple of these. And I'm going to take a hose, I'm going to make a 90-degree here. And then we're going to use another 90-degree back here with another hose, and we're going to take a straight shot back right there. So, heater hose situation is about to be resolved. Of course, our AC system now, after we get these crimped, we'll get them installed. That will be complete. And then, this is where it kind of starts slowing you down. You got to think this stuff through because you have two different, actually we got three different systems we're trying to interface in together. So you've got the American Auto Wire, the chassis harness for the car. You've got a Holley terminator that's trying to run the engine. And then you've got a Dakota Digital for the instrument cluster. So you're trying to interface all that stuff together. Now, we had to do some strategizing. We've got all of our grounds here now. You see here, I ran grounds from the battery. American Auto Wire wants the ground run directly to the engine, and it is hooked directly to the engine here. And then I have the subframe connected, the Hemi-Denny subframe connected from the engine to the subframe. Same thing on the other side. And then we have American Auto Wire wants directly from positive battery to this fuse right here. Actually, they want this go directly to the starter, and then from the starter to here. So once we get our transmission in from Silver Sport, we will cut this in half, and it's going to have two different leads. One from the starter, and then a lead from the starter to this right here, this fuse block. We have also our positive and negative points to add fans, fuel pumps, all your auxiliary systems here. That's all good. We got it grounded. So, if you come into the back of the car, I ran grommets and I ran American Auto Wire wants me to run the main wires. They don't want me running it in the car. They want me running it out under the car. So I see two different versions of that. I'm going to do what American Auto Wire wants me to do. So we have this hooked up here. Unfortunately, my terminals coming from the terminator, that wiring harness, the main feed here, they want, just like a Holley Sniper, they want this directly to the battery, and that is where it's going to go. So I'm going to have to lengthen that harness to get to here. But that shouldn't be too hard. This is one of those things, you got to follow directions on these systems. If you don't do it like they tell you to do it, then you're just going to have problems. Now, let's get back up to the front of the car. Now, another great thing about the Holley Terminator X-Max is you have an output harness if you want it. It comes with a cap, but they give you this harness right here if you want outputs. This has fan 1, fan 2, and I believe 2 other inputs, whatever you want. I think you run them off a negative relay. I'll have to look into that. I don't know what I'm going to need off that, but it does tell you right here. One thing we are going to wire is AC kick. So we'll have AC kick. You turn the AC system on, it will automatically turn the RPMs up. Of course, your electric fans, and then AC shutdown, and an output 4. So you got, what, 1, 2, 3, you got 4 extra outputs of whatever you want. So that's a great thing. Next, there's 2 different thoughts of, if I had to do this over again, I probably would have gone that way, but you have a drive-by-wire and you have mechanical. I thought, I wasn't real keen on the drive-by-wire because I wasn't really sold on that yet. So we do have a bracket coming, but I am sold on it now. If I had to do it over again, I would have the drive-by-wire. But I don't. So the drive-by-wire would go here on this part of the Terminator X-Max. Now, of course, we got to figure out what to do with this. This is a mess. Don't know where I'm going to go with that just yet, but it's got to be cleaned up. We've got our catch can hooked up right here. Now, here's another thing. The great thing about the Terminator is it will talk to your Dakota Digital. So how do we do that? Well, there's a BIM module. It's the Dakota Digital part number BIM-02-1-HLLY, I believe. It just takes a straight, plugs into where your handheld would have plugged in. I believe this right here. This is for your handheld, right here. And we're going to have a harness that goes to this. It's going to go to a module. And that module is going to go to the Dakota Digital. So let's take a look at that real quick. Now coming back inside the car, as I was saying, that module, we'll have to find a place to mount it somewhere, but it will speak directly to our tachometer. It'll provide oil pressure, voltage, not the fuel. This will come directly from the Holley EFI tank, and then this is our temperature. The speedometer, let's talk about that. The speedometer will also be read off of the transmission, and we have the transmission harness that plugs into the Terminator, and it will plug directly into our Silver Sport A41. Basically, it is a 4L60E stage 3 built transmission for a horsepower level like what we have. Then, of course, we have our retro radio, and we have our new HVAC system. Not sure what that's temperature. There it goes there. And voila. You hear the different Yep, there it goes. Nice. Nice, nice. So, yes, this will all be interfaced in several systems trying to tie them together and take our time, but we are getting there. So now what we have is our coil springs, the QA1 package, coilovers will be here tomorrow, as well as our Caltrax monoleaf. So let's go check that out real quick. And here's what we have of our Caltrax system. These are our rear shocks right here. I think they're more for drag racing, but they're going to work for me. Guys I talked to said they have no problem driving on the street. So there's that. Here's our spring perches, our spacers, everything. Our adjusters right here. And of course our new U-bolts. When the monoleafs get here, we plan on next weekend we'll be putting all the Caltrax and the coilovers on the front of this car. And then I guess last but not least, the interior of the car. I just finally found the set of bows off eBay. Man, those things were expensive. So the 4 or 5 bows are all colored for a 68 Barracuda notchback. So our plan of attack is we're definitely outsourcing certain things. So the bench seat and the carpet and the headliner assembly, we have a really good upholstery shop that's in Fort Smith. They're going to take the car and they're going to do the seat, carpet, headliner, the whole 9 yards. And then one thing I forgot to add, steering column. So this is my original steering column. As you see, it was originally an automatic 318 automatic car. This I'm going to send to Denny. I'm going to have him cut it to the proper length, and then we'll get this installed into the car so we can steer the thing. So lots going on, but I can tell you there is a lot of work that has to take place on a project like this, that it's not just something that you just throw parts at. You got to think it through. Thinking it through, you sometimes you'll get to a point you're like, I don't know if that was a good decision or not. Sometimes you got to back up, and I've had to do that. But yeah, we'll probably order the transmission later this month. I think it has a 4-week lead time. I'd really like to get that in here so I can get that engine sitting where it needs to sit. So that is where we are at with our 68 Barracuda Restomod. It's getting there. So if you hadn't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Hope everybody has a good Sunday. Thanks, everybody.